Hello everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell notification. I feel like I haven't been saying that. I don't know why I haven't, but this series has definitely been an interesting one. It has been a great journey that I really loved, or slash I'm really happy to go on. Um, but on this video, I will definitely be designing a landing page by Prime Hydration. So Prime Hydration is a drink from a guy named Logan Paul and and KSI. So they're all YouTubers, and I do really love their content. Logan Paul and KSI are one of my favorite content creators on the internet. So the previous this is the previous landing page that they have. It's just some basic, just a title with the whole new drink flavor that they have, which is called the ice pop, and the colors, which are already sold out. They always sold out, and then like they have this sort of like the content or what the drink has or whatever. They have all the flavors: ice pop, tropical, orange, lemon lime, grape, and raspberry, blue raspberry. So this is the header and the footer, um and the footer. So I just want to take this, right? And the reason why I'm using I just want to take this and turn it into something new. The thing is, with clients or even anyone that does know anything about tech, when they bring out a website reference for you, they always bring out a website of Apple. They'll say, hey, on my website to look at Apple, things like that. And I just want us to kind of like see how we can view Apple in a different way. So if I have this opened in a new tab, and let's say for example I have this open in another tab. Apple always has this factor of like wow to it. So like as I'm scrolling, it changes dynamics, right? It makes it feel like you're going through an experience with the website. And that's what makes Apple so lovely, right? And the thing with them is they have so many white space where they give you an opportunity to focus on one thing at the same time, at a time. And that is what I want us to work on with Prime, right? The ability for people to focus on one thing at the same time. We're definitely going to look into the animations. And I would love you guys to create few things or few different animations and tag me on Twitter, so that we could see what the whole series have led to this point, right? So we're going to be definitely doing some of this animations so that we'll see how it looks if we're trying to do it on Figma. So things like this are called parallel animation. So what it means is that it show it parallelly once you scroll and things like that. And if we even look at the MacBook Air page, it's just lovely, man. Like it's really lovely. So the way they've been able to do it is just like, look, it's amazing. So if we go back to our page, I have brought in so I'll be using this desktop too, and I'll be creating padding and things like that. I'll be adding the padding. I've brought in the different flavors and the different colors, and I have created a color tint for the colors, right? And I've created some brand styles with it, and I've brought in the wireframe, right? So I didn't make it so detailed because I feel like, yeah, it's for me and I could do it. And I brought in some mood boards actually. Brought in the main Prime Hydration website, and I brought in some few things that I would love to have on the website section. So in my assets, I brought in nav, already worked on it. So this nav was modeled uh in a project we had called IMT. So I brought that in, model it right after the whole main website and make it a little bit more pop. And the footer as well, I created it from the main footer we had on the website, and I felt like I just made it a little more sleek. but I used one font though. I used only Montserrat. So all this, orange as well. Like I brought in some assets for like oranges and things like that. But because this is a series, right? I would fast forward towards when I have completed the design. So that because I know from the first design, I've showed you how you can design things like this. So I'll just fast forward through it and get to it, right? So I'm done with the prime design. I created flavors, right? So you could click on any flavor and order now. And yeah, I have created a new what's it called? I've created a new flow point, which is what I showed in the previous video. I think the only way this makes sense is if you watch all other videos I've done outside of the first one. So let's take a look at what I have done in the basics and you will understand what I mean, right? So this is the main page. This is the header drinks. This header is modeled by this. So if you scroll down, like I said, too many white space, right? If you scroll down, I want them to focus on this page at the time, right? So they could also click on this to see drink flavors and pick personal page. I had this GIF where I now have about prime hydration and they could read more. So this definitely would, if I say actual size, 100%, you would see that this is readable. But I just want it to be like the whole, I want it to be like this. So we have this drink with the hand. We have shop flavors, and this is KSI and this is Logan Paul. And there's something called Stay Hydrated. And another thing I want to do is to make this kind of like go slowly. So these are the stores that's available, and this will be a scrollable image. It will be horizontal scrolling, and then we have the footer. So yeah, there's a lot of work now up front, but before I do this, I want to do some. I want to tell you something a little bit about animation. There's something we call storyboarding. So storyboarding is a sketch process of making an animation or a film, right? So if we look at all this, it's just a process, right, where it tells you what the storyboard will look like, right? And if you want to create a lovely animation, it would make sense if you start with a storyboard. So my own storyboard goes like this, right? So all these flavors, if you look at from the animation, right? Let me go to actual size. From the animation, there are these limes and oranges that are faded back in the background, right? And there are these ones that dance on the edge. I want, before the page loads, it starts with the bottle closed and all these elements faded away. As soon as you start scrolling down, right, all these oranges and whatever jumps into this drink, if that makes sense. So it jumps into that drink and the cap closes. So if it makes it feel like all the oranges and everything was made and then the bottle was closed, right? So the next thing is I want this, once you scroll into here, I want this to fly in from this and that to fly in from the top, this to fly in from the right, and bottom vice versa, and all this will just come in. I want them to be able to click a specific flavor and it would show that flavor here, right? So that's why I did a flavor page here. If you click on either one, it would it should do the you should do the honors and work basically. So I want this prime hydration to kind of like slide in from the left, this to come from the top and this to come from the bottom, and then read more should come to the top as well. So this is where this whole thing would come from the top and land on the hand, and the hand will come from the bottom, right? And this, your lifestyle drink, will shrink a little bit down to the bottom. And then we'll have shop flavors. This will enlarge, and then there is shop now, right? And then we have this stay hydrated. This text too will come from the top and this will come from the bottom, and the image will kind of like come from here to here. That's my storyboard. This will kind of like animate, and this you will be able to drag with your hands. So I'm going to be showing different animation techniques here, or would I say prototyping techniques, right? And I hope it does make sense, and I hope we're able to get some value out of this video. And after this video, it would be the next how to export your portfolio and have it on your portfolio so that it makes sense. And we'll be doing that, and I'll be converting some couple of my designs into the portfolio. And yeah, that's going to be the end of the series. So we have one more video to go after this. So let's start with this first one, right? What I'll be doing is just like I used to. It's just going to be like my micro prototyping, right? I'm going to make it in a way where if you click on this yellow, it brings you to this, right? It changed over to that, and I want it to be smart animate. So now if we go to our prototyping and we click on the yellow, it animates to the other one, right? It kind of like changes the stuff. So I'll be doing that, and I would get back to you in a bit. So now as you can see, everything is all perfect. If I were to fit the screen, you'd see that the tropical punch is connected to the tropical punch. Every color is connected to every color. And not only that, as soon as you click it, the color here changes the selection, and you can click on order now if it works, right? So we're going to go back to our page. And so like I said about what storyboarding is, what I said about what storyboarding is earlier on, right? Is how your design would be if you really want to do because there is no parallel scroll within Figma right now. What you're going to do is you create a storyboard for your design in Figma as well. So let's say, for example, this is, they're playing a match. A person decides to kick the ball to these kids. These kids are now there. So something like that, that's what you decide to do in your storyboard. So let's go back to our Figma, and we would create a duplicate for this and keep it somewhere. This will be our main design that we don't want anything to touch, and we'll take this to the top. So now what I want to do with this is when I duplicate this, I want in this one, I want it to kind of so I want this to be the first screen. So this would be will come to the top, right? And this will come and close the drink, right? But we would hide both of them first to kind of see how we can scale this down. So I'll scale this down a little bit, and I'll take this down a little bit just to show it that, okay, hey, I want you to kind of scale up as you grow. So this will be the empty page, while when you come to the page, it will be like a loader that loads into this, right? So another thing we're gonna have is we're going to let's show our carbs. Let's show our carbs and drink. Would be just rotating these objects and scaling them down. So if I were to rotate this and scale it down a little bit, I'll then rotate this. I'll scale it down a little bit, right? So even this, I'll rotate this to kind of just go into a different direction. This will kind of settle down. This as well, and I'll rotate this and scale it down. Hit the last one and scale it down as well. So what I want to have is I want so now I'll just select all these other ones. So I'll select this one, and not that. I'll select this and this. So these are there it's remains another one, yeah. So this, I'll make them 10%. I'll make the opacity 10%. So what that means is it would scale up. It would kind of like brighten up and scale up at the same time. I don't know if you understand what that means. So it would scale up and turn into this page, right? So what we're going to do now is we'll click on this and go to our prototype section, and we'll drag this. Oh, it's because I'm on scale instead of move. We'll drag this to the second page, and what we'd say is we want it not on click but after delay. So we want it after 800 milliseconds of delay. We want it to ease how. Let's check the prototype. So if we go to the prototype and we restart the prototype, it's supposed to slide in, right? So what we essentially want to do is we want to make it appear as if you're scrolling to this page, like if you're scrolling to this page, we need the whole bottle to close down with the whole text in it. But the way I want it to happen is that all this fruit will come inside here. So since this fruit does not have a direction, or we don't have a direction of animation with Figma, I'd have to make a first point where it shows to the bottle, right? And this is scaled down and it closes. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's how what we're going to do. So I'll duplicate this, and I'll rotate this and scale it down a little bit just to come here. But this would be, we'll take the bottle down a little bit down just to show the effects that it's kind of like going down. And what I'm going to do is bring this down to behind the bottle and scale this down as well, and reduce the opacity to like 50% and take it down behind the bottle, and we're running to resize this and scale it down. And this too would be scaled down. The only ones that wouldn't be in the bottles are the ones that are blurred, so they are at the background of the thing. But I feel like we should move them down a little bit just so it gives the effect of going down. They should be moved down a little bit. So we'll then take the bottle closer now, and we'll shift the entire canvas, and we'll shift the entire canvas. Paint this. We'll shift the entire canvas up a little bit. So it kind of like shows like, yo, this is moving out of the frame. I hope all this are making sense anyways. So this is moving out of the frame, and we would then animate from the main one to this, and this would be after this would be on click, yeah, and it should smart animate to the other ones in 500 milliseconds, so that the next one we're going to have, which would be closing off this entire animation, would be 500 milliseconds as well. So let's try the animation and see. So once this is here, we click it, it starts to go up. So in the next animation, which will be ending this phase, we would make sure that this is not auto laid out. It's not auto laid out, and we would create a duplicate of that frame. So now once we've made a duplicate here, we'll go back to the main file and make sure that all of it is not auto laid out. We'll remove the auto layout from the file, and we'll remove the auto layout from here as well. So in essence, what we want to happen is all this to come in as we move, right? So if I click on this, if I hold on this prototype wise, yeah, it's showing that it is the one. So let's take this and make it 10%, and we'll take this from the other side, make it 10%. This ones will also go down a little bit. So this will be 10%. That's the text will be 10%, but the button will be 0%, so that it kind of like fades in, right? And the only thing that will be there will be this. So after we've had all that, we'll just click this and unselect the nav and take it to the top. So we'll just move it to the top where it starts from, the top. Right, so if we go back to the animation and replay it, yeah, so there should be, okay, it's not yet on click, right? But another thing that we need to make sure is we need to close the cap. So this needs to close before this whole thing slides in. So if I go back to unclipping the content, I could go to the main file and select it and the fruits, or select the fruits. This is whole tricky sometimes and funny. Once I select the whole fruits, I think this should be a fruit. Oh, that's the fruit on the side. So which fruit is this? So yeah, select this fruit, select that fruit, select this fruit, and that, and close the cap like this. Oh, it's behind the file. It's in front of the file instead of being behind it. Stay hydrated. It acts like it closed the cap. I don't know, this sounds a little bit crazy, but trust me, it will work. So once we have that, we'll just animate it to the next one. And this will change from on click to after delay. And it will be, I'm sorry, no, not after delay, back to on click. Sorry, it will be 500 milliseconds, so that the double of them becomes 1000 milliseconds. So this is too fast. I think we should leave it at 1000 milliseconds. But now if we refresh this or restart the animation, there's something that doesn't work. It doesn't work quite well. Oh, so the problem with this animation is that we didn't start from like beginning. So it's sort of like, it feels like these other ones are flying out. So we need to fix that problem too. In essence, where we'd have to, you know, like do this. I'll do this and get back in a bit. So let's try it once more and see. So what I'm going to do now is bring in a ruler to kind of like gauge where it's supposed to kind of like sit, because in the animation it's not working well. It's kind of like giving a gap below, so I'll have to fit that in. I'll fit that in a little bit. All right, so I would restart this. Yeah, so this works now. If we'll check the whole animation, this is it, and we could click on individual ones to get the colors we want, and we could click on other now. So the next thing we need to do is see how this scrolls in, right? So I'll then make a duplicate of this, and once I make a duplicate of that, I would select everything that is inside the file and deselect the nav and scroll this past it. So once we have that, we'll then say, hey, from this section we want to slowly bring it from the top, right? So it would come from the top, but we want it to 20% animate. this should come from the bottom, 1 to 10% animate, and this should also come from bottom, 20%. So what we're saying is it should animate, it should fade in here, or let's take this from the side as well and bring it in 10%. No, sorry, let's say 50. It should just animate to this section and just show us what we need to see. So what it will do is it will transition from this state to this state, right? So I don't know, it sounds crazy right now. What we're going to then do is click on the web main file and prototype it to the other one. So this will be on click, smart animate, 1000 milliseconds. That sounds enough, but I don't want it to be that slow, but let's see. So if we go back to the section, yeah, it animates it beautifully, right? And then the next thing we need to do is go to the next section, which is this drink, which is this bring back your lifestyle drink. So what we're going to do is to I've been saying what we're going to do since, but we'll duplicate that and sort of like select all like we've been doing. Just bring this in, slide this in, slide this in, and then we'll go back to the main file. So what I want to do here is I want this to drop on the hands, right? So I'll bring this here. I'll bring this from the top, and then the hand. What's the constraints on the hands? So the constraint should be bottom, 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 left. So if I do it like this, what's happening? So center, bottom, center. So if I do it like this, so this should come and pick the whatever it is, and this will be scaled down a little bit just to give us like the effect that it has blown into this. So if I was to animate this now by prototyping and bringing the prototype to this section. And another thing I wanted to that section. So what's happening right now? I can't animate it. What do you mean? Oh, I had to go down to the bottom, and I'll bring it in, and this should be on click, smart animate to the other one. So I'll just click this. That's it. It slides in beautifully. So let's go to the section. Yeah, it feels like the hand comes and take the drink. So the next thing we would be doing is just finalizing this prototype, and this should be the next section. So we would, like we've been doing, we'll select all the file inside except the nav and take it to, yeah, just push it in, I think just to the nav section. And what we will do is from here we would just increase the size of the whole text. I'm sorry, the rectangle, shop our flavors, but this will be coming from the top and we'll make it 30%. This will come from the bottom and we'll make it 20%. So the make it 20% I'm talking about is just reducing the transparency. If I now animate it from that section to this, and it's on click, it's smart animate, we should get this, right? So there's another thing I wanted to do, which is if I click from here, hold on, if I click from here, that's what it will do. There's another thing I want to do. This stay, I want it to give me like an effect of coming from the top, right? So we would then come to the main page and say this would be 30%, right? And we would duplicate this other page just to go to the next thing. We'll select everything except the nav. Once we select everything except the nav, once we select everything except the nav, we will just drag it to the top and make sure that this stays in frame, the whole hydrated thing. And yeah, this would be from the bottom and this would be at the top like we had it before. So like 30%, this also would be 30%. No, this should be where it's at 100%. So if we restart the animation, not restart, if we continue from where we're stopping, oh, we haven't prototyped it, so we'll go to our, we'll select our we'll go to our prototyping and link it to the other one. I'll make the animation 1000 milliseconds and we would animate it in. So if we go back few frames and we click it, it shows like this and that one drops. Let's go back a little bit. And yeah, once this is clicked, this enters the frame and this kind of like enters the frame as well. So I think lastly, the only animation that will be left to do is this, because we want this to slide. So what I have already done is created a component of this, right? So if I go select the component and I go to main component, sorry, you would see that I've had two versions of this, right? So now if I unclip this, you would see what I'm talking about. There is, okay, hold on. Let me select this scroll and unclip it and select this as well and unclip it. So this will be micro interactions. You see what I'm talking about. So there's a one where it extends from here to there, and there's a one where it extends from there to here. So basically what we're trying to animate is just for them to come and meet themselves in the middle. Let me clip the content and do the prototyping from here. So I'll just go to our prototyping section and then drag this to this and say, hey, we want it not on click, but after a delay of 0, we want 1 millisecond, we want it to change to that, smart animate to that, but we don't want it ease out, we want it to take it slowly, right? Then we'll animate this to that too as well and say, hey, after the delay of, since this will be going back, so this won't be on click, it will be after delay of, let's say, 1000 as well. We want it to slowly go to this for 1000. So I think this is 1000. So I think that's what should happen. If we go back to our prototyping and we restart it, so we should see that this is moving. There's something wrong with this animation. I don't know what, but there's something wrong with it. I'll probably check it after the video or something, or if someone knows what I'm doing wrong here, they should notify me in the comments. But nonetheless, that's just the process of how to do it. So the next frame would be dragging this in frame and then making sure that the footer is lit. So we would select everything in the frame except the footer and we'll just drag it up to the section where it's there. And now what we want to do is we want to make this scrollable, but the problem is we haven't done it from the beginning. So this is supposed to be in a frame. In order to do that, we would need to create a frame with all of this content, right? So we'll right click and make it a frame, and within that frame we would not do this. What's this in? Yeah, we could just bring this in like this, and we will need to take that into here as well. So once we have that, we would say the scrolling. So there is a properties settings, and in the property settings you change the scrolling type to, in your prototype you change it from no scrolling to horizontal. So now once we restart the prototype and we get to that point where it gets the scrolling, we could just drag it like this. And the reason why this didn't scroll together with the previous one is because we didn't put the scrolling right from the beginning on the other ones. So it just feels like it was there as a property, not like something that was there before. So if I was to go back to this and bring it to the first frame in the previous design, right, and just hide the, let me first of all hide it and hide the designs that are here. Now this should work. It should work. If it doesn't work, there's nothing I can do about it. It's just that I didn't put it from the beginning. So those are the kind of mistakes you would watch when you're designing. So if you click this, yeah, you see it's scrolled with it, and we could just drag this to whatever section we want it to. So we have been able to design the landing page, designed and prototype the landing page of the prime hydration to look like something a lot more cool. I hope you guys like this video, and I would like us to watch the prototype one more time. We've come to the end of the video, guys. We're going to be having the last video would be how to put all this in your portfolio and how to optimize your portfolio. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please make sure you do subscribe, create some beautiful designs, and tag me on Twitter. And do have a great day. Bye.